Northwest of Kenya's bustling capital, Nairobi, lies West Pokot County. From the sky, this land that is a part of Kenya's Great Rift Valley lies a stunning landscape with hilly terrains in the rocky savanna where space is abundant but resources are scarce. Beyond these green hills, however, the land whispers a different tale, one of struggle, resilience and determination. Its spirited people have adopted to a life where distances aren't measured in kilometers but in hours trekked by foot. This is Cheptulel location, a place right at the border of Elgeyo Marakwet and West Pokot counties. It is a known hideout for bandits where gunfire often drowns out the sound of laughter. In this part of West Pokot, education is not just a right, it is a journey. Step by step, breath by breath, we climbed this mountain alongside National Police reservists, tracing the same rough route children take each morning, not in search of adventure, but in pursuit of education.
Almost.
Indeed, no shortcuts exist here. Only the determined reach the top. 50 minutes of climbing, 50 minutes of dust, sweat and aching muscles. And yet this is the daily routine for students of Chesogon Primary School.
Mtoto ambaye anatoka mbali anatoka like 4 kilometers akiteremkia down the cliff, the high cliff.
No desks, no walls, just the open sky and a scorching sun overhead. And this is where lessons are taught every day under the open sky.
Well done,
Ungekuja mchana saa 7 hapa, ungekuta kwamba jua iko kali sana. Tunazunguka kwa vivuli ya miti.
Introduced in 2017, the competency-based curriculum or CBC promised a revolution in learning. A practical, skills-based approach for the 21st century. Yet, 8 years after its rollout, a deep divide is evident. In some urban centers, CBC thrives with resources and support, but in areas like here in West Pokot, it's a daily battle against limited resources, teacher shortages, and crumbling infrastructure.
I believe it's a good system. It would have been a game changer in our country. But the way the CBC was implemented in this country, I think many Kenyans were not prepared. In fact, by the time Kenyans realized there is something called CBC going on, it is when we had already gone 9 years into CBC.
We have failed a bit to look into the provision of the basic requirements that would have enabled 100% rollout of CBC.
Not so long ago, these learners had a classroom where they could sit, learn, and dream of a better tomorrow. But due to their attacks, families fled, leaving the classrooms and schools behind.
Tumetoka shule Chesogon sehemu ya chini penye tulikuwa kwa sababu ya insecurity, tukahamia ECD iko pale chini, ikaendelea kwa escalate mambo ya insecurity mpaka tumejipata hapa. Hapa si shule, hapa ni uwanja tu, tumefuata watoto, ni kama mobile unit, tumefuata penye wazazi wao wameenda.
You might wonder why families prefer to live on these mountain tops. It's not for the views. It's a survival strategy. From up high, they can spot danger long before it arrives.
Au maadui wakikujanga, wakionekana nduru ndio hiyo. So hapo sasa tunahalat kila mtu maneno iko mbaya. So ndio tunakuwa ina nini, pengine tunahamisha watoto ama tunahamisha pengine kuna mzee mmoja ako na mbuzi ama wawili wanasongesha hawa wanyama.
Tunaomba serikali watupatie serikali yani askari ya kuchunga shule. Ndio hata watoto wakiambiwa wakuje kwa saa ile mzuri, wakuje wakijua kuna security ya kutosha.
CBC demands hands-on learning, but to the contrary, reality hits hard at Chesogon. Resources are scarce, and what little they had, like textbooks, was devoured by termites in the abandoned school.
Mtaala wa CBC ni mtaala nzuri sana. Japo sasa katika ile practical aspect, unaona sasa katika ile mazingira tuko mara mingi hatuna vifaa.
We have tried as a county government, but we still have challenges that we have. Children who don't have classrooms, they don't have enough desks and other facilities. So that is a disparity. This curriculum will only advantage those whose parents are educated and well off.
The promise of a practical, skills-based education is further compromised by a critical shortage of qualified teachers.
Hata saizi tukiongea hivi, hatuna walimu from the Teacher Service Commission. I'm the only TSA teacher. Wale walimu wengine walitafuta uhamisho. Walikuwa wanatoka side ya Marakwet, some from Uasin Gishu County. So at the moment niko na volunteers ambao wazazi wamejaribu kushikilia wasaidie watoto.
The elephant in the room is having enough budget in the Ministry of Education to implement the system so that resources are distributed equally across the country, so that all institutions in the country have at least some relative advantage.
Let us look at all the resources we have in the sector and ask ourselves how best can we utilize the resources that we have in the sector to make sure that we are not disadvantaging any child.
Our journey takes us to a different area. It is 9:30 a.m. at Arpolo Primary School in Kapenguria, West Pokot County. This is the earliest learners get to school. They cannot risk trekking before sunrise.
Sasa asubuhi tunakuja tu kama jua imekuwa kidogo. Sasa tunakuja tunaangalia huku.
In these remote, banditry-prone areas, schools face a double challenge. They not only struggle with inconsistency in school attendance, but are also fighting for every bit of funding to schools.
This area is remote. This is a rural area. People don't attach so much importance to having birth certificate, registering learners with their Department of Persons, Registration of Persons. Now, when the ministry insisted that learners be uploaded on NEMIS using birth certificates, it was hard time for the school to receive the funds from the ministry, because a small number of learners could have birth certificates. Coupling with this insecurity, most of the parents took away their learners. Imagine the population was 400 coming down to 220. And of the 220, a quarter could have birth certificate. We use those few to upload on NEMIS, and that's the number that the government used to give us money. To run the school becomes difficult because the money we receive will not gather all the needs of the school.
School heads in this region face relentless pressure as insecurity forces families to flee. When calm is restored, parents return, demanding their children be readmitted.
A learner that was not physically in class when registration was on features later. The parent is telling you, register my child. When you tell it is not possible again, the portal has been closed by the neck, the parents become very furious, without knowing that this thing is about it is system-generated information.
Dennis Sang, a grade 9 learner at Arpolo Primary School, has already felt the sting of disruption. His family was forced to flee, and by the time they returned 2 years later, his peers had already advanced to the next level.
Nilifanya mtihani hapa Arpolo grade 6. Sasa baba yangu akasema mtuame hapa Arpolo. Arpolo imekuwa fida. Tukama huko Sigora. Nikaenda kukaa nyumbani huko Sigora. kakaa nyumbani, amani kakuja huku, ikakuja Arpolo. Sasa nikakuja nikasema kama amani imekuja Arpolo niende shule yangu. Sasa walimu wakasema kaa grade 6 kidogo, somea grade 6 kidogo Arpolo.
150 kilometers south of West Pokot, a similar struggle unfolds. Here in Baringo, learners endure a lot on their way to school, from the rough terrain to crossing swelling rivers while having to navigate paths where animals roam. In extreme cases, police officers escort them for safety. For boarding students, their classrooms turn into dormitories by night.
While I believe that we are supposed to be equitable, or we are supposed to be equal, that is a far-fetched theory. We should be. And it is important for government to distribute resources equally. But it's a long shot. The amount of resources that are available in government are limited. So it's upon communities and us to be innovative and ingenious in creating opportunities for people to thrive.
For the first time in 13 years, Mugutani residents enjoy peace. The first 3 months of 2025 have been calm, and this newfound peace is reflected in classrooms where an increase in student enrollment is evident.
This has never happened again, right from 2012. Lakini sasa, the gun is silent. Everything in the community has returned to normalcy. Shule tunaendelea vizuri. And no wonder that is why nilikuwa na hamasisha wazazi wetu warudi.
You have been around. Have you seen a gun-toting person? Far from it.
Just months ago, spent cartridges littered these grounds like fallen flowers. The community is, however, hopeful that guns will remain silent forever.
Kabla utulivu kurejea, mambo ilikuwa mbaya. Kila wakati ilikuwa ni labda kukimbia. Wakati mwingine unatafuta mandari ya kujificha kwa sababu ilikuwa babaya. Kwa sababu hao wakora wangekuja mpaka karibu kwa shule. Unastukia hata wakati bado huko darasani, risasi imeingia pio huko ndani.
Every day, Alan Chebi, a grade 5 student at Embosos Primary in Baringo, braves the heat of an iron sheet classroom. But his thirst for knowledge never fades. When the bell rings, he carefully gathers his books and steps out. His journey home is marked by dusty, rocky roads and thorny thickets. Unlike many children his age, there is no parent waiting for him at home. It is only his grandmother. His father was killed in a bandit attack when he was just 3 days old. His mother fled soon after, leaving his grandmother as his only family.
Ruben ni kijana wangu. Aliwawa na wajankile 2013. Ilikuwa ni tarehe 8. Januari. Akawawa. Na ng'ombe zikaenda. Ng'ombe 70 na sijui nilikuwa na 76 ilienda. Sasa sisi tukatangatana tukabebana na watoto. Aliwacha watoto 5. Huyu ndio alikuwa ya 5 amewachwa. Sasa wa 5 ndio sasa mama yao naye ni mama ataki mtu ya kunyamaza ana maneno mingi. Sasa nikimwambia twende hivi ataki twende hivi, mimi naenda na watoto. Watoto ataki niwaache hawa, tunatembea na watoto hawa tukienda na tukirudi, tukienda tukirudi.
While many CBC students enjoy the support of their parents tackling homework in the evening, Alan sits alone, his grandmother unable to assist.
Ananiambia mimi nimepea homework nifanye. Naambia sasa kula kabla hujakula saa hiyo yote wewe ingia kwa meza. Angalia kitabu yako vile umefanywa. Kwa vile mimi sasa ni mzee sasa sijui kufunza hawa. Jaza yenye umepewa kesho upeleke mwalimu yako akwambie yenye umeanguka ama yenye umepata ni sawa. Juu sisi wengine hatukusoma.
Instead of leveling the playing field, the CBC system seems to be deepening the divide between those who have resources and those that don't have. This is particularly evident for students in rural and insecurity-prone areas, as they always face challenges accessing infrastructure to fully benefit from the CBC system.
There are children who have finished even grade 6, grade 7, who are not able to read and write English, in English and Kiswahili. And they are supposed to prepare for national exams now going forward. You will be surprised about the numbers. If a proper research is done today, the number of children who have finished even up to grade 9 and they cannot be able to read and write in English or Kiswahili. And they are in this country, 61 years after independence.
In urban areas like here in Nairobi, a different reality unfolds. Classrooms are well structured with desks neatly arranged. Here at Kasarani Group of Schools, bright walls display charts that aid in interactive learning. Trained teachers walk from desk to desk, assisting learners with hands-on activities.
We can use papers, TJ. We can use sticks. Like right now we were doing creative activities whereby we were doing mosaic technique, whereby we decorate items. Like in this technique, we only use one type of material. So we pick a material, work on it, do our decoration. Whereby we don't have materials, we always improvise from the locally available materials. And we make sure that the learners have fun as they are learning and that they do a lot of activities to make sure that they open their minds and that they are able to learn a lot and experience a lot by themselves.
This sharp contrast raises a critical question. Can CBC truly be effective and succeed when opportunities vary so drastically?
If this problem persists, it will be a national problem of a monumental proportion in the near future. Monumental proportion because the more the number of children that you take to school in circumstances that do not empower them with the knowledge they deserve and desire to be able to build life after school, the more people you create with the grievances against society. Yeah. And when you have so many people with grievances against the society, you are actually predisposing that society to calamities.
Experts argue that the focus should not only be on what is lacking, but maximizing what is available.
Let us go back to the blueprint of what we had in mind when we were thinking about rolling out of competency-based curriculum. Let us think about the conversations we had before. The national policy paper that was used to develop the idea of rolling out CBC. Let us look at what has worked and what has not worked.
The CBC has no problem. We have created problems ourselves through haphazard implementation.
God forbid, but education sector is like it's on its deathbed unless something serious happens and we find resources to be able to fund teachers. We are not able to train enough teachers because we still have a very huge gap nationally.
Until then, the vision of a holistic skills-based education system remains unclear. What is clear, though, is that if systemic barriers like unequal access and quality gaps are not addressed, education, a force that ensures everyone has a fair chance to succeed, will remain the elusive equalizer. Andrin Kilemi, TV 47.